We're going to be looking at 12 trendy running backs from week 8. We're going to pull up the NFL.com next-gen stat charts to look at the data, to look at the trends, to look at the workload, to see what we can identify with these running backs. These are running backs that we're going to be picking up off waivers, dumping back onto the waiver wire, guys we're trading for, guys we're trading away. Really, we're looking at the trends, see what we want to do with these running backs. But what you really need to do right now is click that subscribe button right now. Tap it with your finger on your phone. Click it with your mouse on your computer. We're covering the waiver wire extensively this week. We'll have multiple videos on top of helping you set your lineups, on top of helping you get your trades done and everything else. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stop missing out. But let's look at these 12 running backs real quick here. The first one we want to look at today is Rashard White. He got a lot of workload, 9 carries, but most of that workload was done in the passing game. Saw 7 targets, caught all 7 of those targets for 70 yards. He's getting a lot of workload in the passing game. He's very dependable in PPR as he's getting you double-digit scoring in most games. He's more like an every other game type of running back, but we got back-to-back games here with double-digit fantasy production. Again, he's a pass-catching running back. You're going to get your volume, your fantasy points from him catching balls out of the backfield. If you're in a standard league, he's hurting you right now because those are 7 points you did not get from last week. But those matchups where they got to throw the ball, Rashard White's a guy you're going to be looking at. Baker Mayfield historically targets the running back on 20% of his targets, his pass attempts. That being said, Rashard White, he's going to be off and on this season, but matchups where the Bucs are throwing the ball, he's going to get some looks. Damien Pierce, he's losing a lot of workload. He's sharing a lot of it with Devin Singletary right now. He did see 12 carries, but he's a running back that needs to cross the goal line in order for you to get fantasy production or enough workload to where he pops a run here and there. He's not a reliable option. He has not been all season. We only got 2 games out of him where he's semi-useful for fantasy football. You need to really look hard at him right now. Look at your record. Look at your team. Maybe you need to shoot for upside. Maybe someone's on waivers. Right now, Damien Pierce is a hard guy to lean on right now in fantasy. The workload's just not there to make him consistent. We need him to get some targets in the passing game. That's not happening. He's just not a reliable option in fantasy anymore like he was last year because we need him to cross the goal line. He's not doing that enough. And when he starts doing it, you're not going to have him in your lineup because he's not reliable anymore. Now we're looking at Royce Freeman. Kind of the same story. When we look at him and Hendo, it's the guy who crosses the goal line. That's the guy you want, and you're really taking a flyer there. Hendo got more carries. He had 12 carries in this game, but Freeman got the touchdown. That's what you want. He got more yards per attempt in this game, but still, the Rams were behind. It was an ugly game, but still, the running back that scores the touchdown is the guy you're going to want, and you're gambling on these 2 running backs going forward. Now we're looking at Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley's a stud. But the thing we're noting here, got 36 carries. What the hell? This team threw the ball 7 times. He saw 36 carries. That's an ungodly amount. Also saw 5 targets. So we had 41 opportunities in this game. My goodness, they're running him into the ground. If this continues, he's not going to make it the rest of the season because I don't see any running back being able to in this era because we've never really seen a running back in the last few years get this many touches. Also, 3.56 yards per attempt. It was kind of working, though, for the Giants. This was an ugly, scrappy game against a tough Jets defense. Barkley's been rolling for this team. He's really infused this team. He's helped this team a lot when he came back from injury. He's been helping this team a lot. They've been looking a lot better. But, man, 36 carries is scary. You can't trade him. You can't. Maybe you can. 36 carries. If this continues as a trend, I don't see how he's going to last the rest of the season considering his injury history. But still, that's a hefty workload. He pretty much got 2 to 3 games worth of touches in this matchup. And that's a hell of a workload. If this continues, which it could, he had 24 carries, 21 and 36. That's a lot of workload to count on, which I love it for fantasy, especially a game-to-game scenario. But if you're looking out for the long term, something to monitor. Now we're looking at Chuba Hubbard. He got the carries in this matchup. He got the opportunities. He got the touches, just didn't do anything with it. Something to note going forward is that he's going to be getting workload. He's going to be getting opportunity, but he's more of a running back that you're looking for touches and you're hoping he busts one loose or crosses the goal line. But he's not a running back that you're putting in your lineup and you're feeling good about every week. He's a guy that's a little sus in your lineup, but you know he's going to be getting some touches. Now we're looking at Bejan Robinson. The trend on him is into halftime, he did not have that many touches in this game. Things picked up in the back half of this game, scored a touchdown. We got 62 yards. If he did not score that touchdown, man, it would have been an ugly sight for fantasy. And we know this, that the Falcons do not care about our fantasy teams. They're in crazy matchups every week. We talk about this in the matchup shows when we're trying to find those must starts and those sneaky starts. The Falcons don't care. They're in ugly matchups. Bejan Robinson, though, he's okay in fantasy when he's on the down. He's okay, except for last week. But still, on the down, he'll get you 12. He'll get you 13. He'll get you 11. He's okay in fantasy. The upside's still there. He'll get you 20 points here and there off the season. But in those bad weeks, he's still okay in fantasy because he can be used in the passing game. Still saw 5 targets. Very good. If we could have reeled a couple of those in, even if it was 2 catches for 20 yards, that would have been 4 more points. Would have been awesome on the day. But still, trending good. Even on the down games, he's still good. Now we're looking at Derrick Henry. 22 carries, 101 yards. In an ugly matchup against the Falcons. We just covered this game. He got the workload. He looked good. This was an audition for him if they're still going to move him on the market. There's a lot of rumors saying they can't do it or they won't do it. We'll have to see. Again, running backs are hard to move on the market. I've been saying this. Running backs are hard to move on the market. You do not get the value you think you're going to get. They might stay put here. They might just move them for pennies on the dollar. We'll have to see what happens here in the next few days. DeAndre Swift, 16 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. One thing I want to know here, he's been pretty dependable ever since he broke out in week 2. 27 points, 14, 17, 16, 17, 10, 14. Not gangbusters, but dependable. Also being used in the passing game a good bit. Off and on the workload, though, in the passing game. Some games he gets 10 targets, other games he gets 3. But still, this was an ugly matchup for the Eagles. They went back and forth with Washington. He was still able to cross the goal line. If he did not cross that goal line, it could have been an ugly matchup here for Swift, though. Now we're looking at Ramondre Stevenson. 10 carries in this game. Also saw 4 targets, caught 2 of them for 11 yards. And it's not looking good. He's only been productive through 4 games this season. And it's been off and on. And there's been stretches where he hasn't been useful. Ezekiel Elliott stealing touches. They're working in and out with each other. Ezekiel Elliott's good in the passing game, especially in pass protection. He's good for an NFL team. Also good in goal line situations. Ramondre Stevenson, considering where he was drafted at in fantasy, is a bust this year. Amari Demercado, 20 carries, 78 yards. Not the prettiest performance, but still got you some touches, got you a little bit of fantasy points in a tough matchup against the Ravens. Again, you're not trusting Demercado, but you know he's getting touches. You know he's getting workload while Connor's out, and that's all we can say about that. He's probably on waivers in some leagues. If you're wanting touches, he's going to get them for you. Maybe you can get lucky on a couple carries. Now we're looking at Gus Edwards. Kind of the same thing. Against the Cardinals, everybody's running on the Cardinals. 80 yards on 19 carries. Got a lot of workload here. 3 touchdowns. Of course, he scored a lot of fantasy points. Running back scored fantasy points on the Cardinals. That's just what you do when you play them. Got the opportunity. This was the game where we were hoping Keaton Mitchell would go off, but he was out. He was hurt with a hamstring. Gus Edwards had his moment here. Probably best game of his career, but still 3 touchdowns in this matchup. Really buoyed the numbers here. 19 carries to get to 80 yards. Still 4.21 yards per carry. Looking good against the Cardinals, as everyone does. Javante Williams, 27 carries in this game as the Broncos beat the Chiefs. Got you 85 yards here and 18 fantasy points as he brought in 3 targets for 13 yards and a touchdown. Using the passing game like he usually is. Javante Williams, in the right game script, in the right moments, he can be productive. Just the Broncos are very volatile. They are 3-5 right now, which is better than what we thought they were, considering what we saw in the beginning of the season. But Williams is also still coming back from that injury. Expect more out of him in 2024. Those are 12 trendy running backs from week 8. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.